with breaking news hot off the press. Look like Caitlin Clark might be forced to not sign a CBA agreement and forced to participate in the 2026 WNBA lockout. Now, guys, I have to be honest, man. I'm hearing some things in the background with this whole CBA thing, and it's looking like, I just hate that I gotta say this, bro, it's about to be a lockout.
I also asked how she planned to fix the fact that players like Caitlin, Angel, and Paige, who are clearly driving massive revenue for the league, are making so little for their first 4 years. Her response was, Caitlin should be grateful she makes $60 million off the court, because without the platform that the WNBA gives her, she wouldn't make anything. And in that same conversation, she told me, players should be on their knees thanking their lucky stars for the media rights deal that I got them.
Is alleged to have said to Collier, if she actually suggested Caitlin Clark should be grateful for what she makes off the court, that's preposterous. Did you miss the Iowa years? Clark is the Tiger Woods tide that lifts all boats. And we know this show is proof. The highest rating we have ever had followed one of her games at Iowa. The WNBA has benefited from her presence more than the other way around, even though this year for Caitlin Clark was essentially lost to injury. But it's a league that's at a flashpoint. Kathy Engelbert has got to do more than say she's disheartened in a press release. The commissioner needs to explain how it is that a player, such as Collier, could ever come to feel this way and seemingly be speaking for all of her peers. I admire that Collier had the temerity to say what she did. The failure to respond, directly would be making another statement.
Engelbert needs to resign. I am disheartened about how Napheesa characterized our conversation at league leadership. That's all you got? You gotta go. That's a weak response. I'm gonna say it one more time. That's a weak response. You are the commissioner of the league. This young lady, Napheesa Collier, who's been runner-up for MVP twice, who's clearly a face and a star in the league, who's universally respected, called you out. She said, you're dismissive. She talked about Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese and how your comments were that they were lucky to be in the league. They should be grateful for the money that they're getting. They should be on their knees thanking the... What? And that's the response that you give? What kind of defense is that? Was she lying? Kathy Engelbert?
Well, I have great respect for Fee, and I think she made a lot of very valid points. And, I think what people need to understand, we need great leadership in this time across all levels. This is straight up the most important moment in this league's history. This league's been around for 25 plus years, and this is a moment we have to capitalize on. So that's honestly what I would say. I think there's, Fee said it all with what she said, and I think the points she made were very valid.
Finally, we don't need to listen to Amber Cox speculate about her health. We don't need to listen to Stephanie White speculate about her health. Straight from the horse's mouth herself, Caitlin Clark reveals she is 100% healthy, good to go, ready to go, back in action.
So we know it seems like whatever Caitlin Clark puts her mind to do, she can accomplish about anything, at least when it comes to two things, golfing and basketball. I mean, she's a natural athlete, let's be honest. And today was the Annika Pro-Am, and there's a lot of content that's come out of that.
So Caitlin Clark is back golfing. She is back golfing for the first time in I don't know how long. But she's golfing. She's yeah, that's a positive thing. It's the Annika tournament which she played in last year. But this year is a little bit different. So let's take a look at all the clips from this so far. Jesus, it's pretty packed with her just on the practice range. better swing than mine anyway.
What if one rookie's bold words sparked a full WNBA lockout and changed the game forever? Fresh Buzz says Caitlin Clark could skip signing the new CBA deal and get pulled into the 2026 showdown. Folks, I'm keeping it real here. Whispers from inside circles point to big trouble ahead with this CBA mess. And trust me, it looks bad. I hate dropping this, but a lockout feels close. Caitlin Clark just called out the commissioner in front of everyone, and the WNBA might never recover. Last night, this league saw something wild. Caitlin Clark didn't just reply to a question. She grabbed the mic on her career's biggest stage and tore down the bosses meant to back her up. It all kicked off with a single line from another top player, but that wasn't the end. And what came next stunned the whole scene. Days before Caitlin stepped up, Napheesa Collier held her own end-of-season chat and hit the league with a major surprise. She claimed the commissioner told players they should basically drop to their knees in thanks for the fresh media deal. Collier added that Caitlin should feel lucky for raking in big cash outside the court, all thanks to the WNBA's stage. I also pressed on how to boost pay for stars like Caitlin, Angel, and Paige, who pull in huge crowds but earn peanuts in their early years. Her reply? Caitlin should feel lucky she pulls in $60 million off court, because without this league's boost, she'd have zero. And in that same talk, she said, players should drop to their knees thanking their stars for the massive deal I landed them. It wasn't a quick mistake. It felt like a deep mindset. In a flash, the league's top boss flipped from growth icon to sign of disrespect for many players and fans. Those words boiled down to one thing: you owe us everything. We built you. The fallout hit fast. Fans blew up online. Players started quietly hitting like and share on posts. Folks who usually back the league sat stunned. Big analysts on air ripped the attitude. As for what Engelbert reportedly said to Collier, if she really hinted, Caitlin should feel lucky for her outside earnings. That's wild. Did you forget her Iowa days? Clark is like the wave that lifts every ship, and we know it our top ratings ever came after her college games. The WNBA gained way more from her than she did from it. Even with her year cut short by injury, this league sits at a turning point. Kathy Engelbert can't just say she's upset in a statement. The commissioner needs to spell out how a player like Collier ended up feeling this way and speaking for others. I respect Collier for saying it straight. Skipping a direct reply would send its own message. Some pushed further, saying the league gets wrecked by the same folks meant to build it. Then the players group jumped in. The WNBPA put out words standing by Napheesa Collier as a trusted voice who voiced what tons of players felt for ages. They didn't ditch her. They backed her and moved things ahead. And what about the commissioner? She tried a tidy fix with a business-like reply. She said she felt upset by how the chat got twisted. She claimed respect for players, but no flat denial. No, sorry, no, I never said that. To many, that rang more like cleanup than real leading. Kathy Engelbert should step down. I'm upset about how Napheesa painted our league leadership chat. That's it? You have to go. That's a soft reply. I'll say it again. That's soft. You're the league boss. This young star, Napheesa Collier, twice close to MVP, a clear leader and respected face, called you out. She said you're brushing them off. She brought up Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, and how your words made them sound lucky to even play. They should feel lucky for the pay, drop to their knees thinking, what? What? And that's your comeback. What kind of pushback is that? Was she wrong? Kathy Engelbert. But the real twist came when Clark weighed in. Meanwhile, Caitlin stayed quiet at first. She was dealing with a tough ankle issue, stuck on the bench while the whole league fought over her name, her earnings, and her worth. Her money and her value. And she hadn't dropped a single word. Everyone held their breath. Would she shield the commissioner? The one front and center every time the WNBA parades its fresh star? Would she sidestep the heat like most athletes? Or would she side with the players who've taken blows for her all year, on the court and off? We got the reveal the moment she hit her end-of-season chat. Caitlin kicked off with the basics. She shared how much it stung to sit out with her squad. She said she'd been grinding nonstop to fix that ankle, but she just couldn't cut and move like she needed. No blame, just straight talk. But then a reporter tossed in the big one. He asked about Napheesa Collier, those wild claims, and if Caitlin felt she owed her rise to the WNBA and its boss. That's when the air shifted. Caitlin paused, then hit it head on. First, she stood by Napheesa. She said she holds huge respect for Collier. She added that Napheesa hit on tons of solid points, and this is a key spot where the league needs strong guiding, not empty words, not just statements, but true guiding. Right then, she chose her spot, and it wasn't with the boss. First off, I hold a ton of respect for Fee, and I think she nailed a bunch of spot-on points. And you know, folks need to get this. We need solid guiding at every spot right now. This is flat out the biggest moment in this league's story. What this league's held on for over 25 years, and this is a chance we must grab. So that's straight what I'd say. I think there's, Fee laid it all out, with what she said, and, I think the points she hit were super solid. Then she took down the feel lucky talk without even getting loud. Caitlin coolly pointed out her brand kicked off way before the WNBA. She brought up Iowa, about NIL cash, about landing big deals with top brands long before she rocked a fever top. She stepped into the league with millions of followers, packed houses, and huge backers already in place. In short, she didn't owe the league her wins. The league leaned on hers. That quick breakdown quietly wrecked the notion that she should drop to her knees, thanking anyone in the front office for her cash flow. She laid it out clear. Players like her add worth to the WNBA. They aren't just taking it. But she wasn't finished. Caitlin got asked if she'd caught wind of those claimed words before Napheesa went open. She said no. She learned it like we all did, through another player, in a media spot, right under the lights. Picture that. The top player in the game, the face on every ad, the name in every story, and the commissioner never grabbed the phone. Caitlin also backed up that there's been zero real talk with the commissioner since those words exploded. No one-on-one, no sit-down, no eye-to-eye where the league's top power explains to its biggest draw. For loads of fans, that sealed it, because in that beat, Caitlin didn't need to yell. She didn't need to blast. Just by coolly dropping the facts, she uncovered a guiding crew that grabs praise for her wins, but skips the simple nod of a straight chat. And the backlash was just starting. That's why fans are buzzing that she flat out took down the commissioner, not with wild rants or low blows, but with cold, hard facts the league can't brush off any longer. Ever since that chat, the heat has cranked up big time. More folks are demanding shifts at the top. More players are low-key standing with Napheesa and Caitlin. You can sense it everywhere. A real flip from "we're lucky to play" to "we earn better than this mess." This is what turns Caitlin Clark's words into a game changer. She's fresh in the league, just kicking off her run. Yet in one sit-down, she lined up with the vets, boosted the union, and shook the whole setup without dropping the commissioner's name once. She hit home that without players, there's no show. Without big names, no fat TV cash. Without basic respect, no real shot ahead. So now it boils down to this. Does the boss own up, fix her slip, and patch things with the crew? Or does she grip tight and chance losing the star who yanked this league into the bright lights? Because post this, nothing snaps back. Caitlin Clark just called out the commissioner for all to see, and the WNBA must pick: guard the old guard or back the players keeping it alive. If you're hooked this far, toss "Clark nailed it" in the comments so we all see your side. And up next, peek at the clip breaking how the WNBA bosses started slipping way before this blow-up. With the divide growing wider, talks on the New Deal hit boiling point. With the heat turned up on leadership, the whole mess ties right into the bigger fight over the league's New Deal. The current CBA runs out on November 30, just days away, and talks have dragged on with no clear win in sight. Players are pushing hard for real changes, like bigger cuts of the cash the league pulls in, better perks, and pay that matches the buzz they're creating. Right now, top earners max out around $250,000 a year, while fresh faces like Caitlin start at peanuts, maybe $66,000 or so. That's pocket change next to the millions she banks from deals outside the court. But the league's latest offer bumps max pay to over $1 million and tosses in some revenue splits. Yet players slammed it as not enough, calling it a weak slap instead of the big shift they want. Whispers say things are stuck, with no breakthrough as the clock ticks. Some insiders hint a lockout is on the table if they miss the cutoff, which could wipe out part of the 2026 season or delay the whole thing. Picture this. After Caitlyn's rough 2025, cut short to just 13 games by those nagging groin and ankle woes, she'd be stuck waiting again. No court time, no chance to build on her star power. Fans and analysts buzz that her pull could force the bosses to bend, maybe even drag in outside help like the NBA's top guy to smooth it over. But if things blow up, it hits stars like her hardest. They're the ones packing seats and spiking TV numbers, yet stuck with rules that cap their take. The tension feels thick, with players united and ready to hold out for what's fair. Rumors fly that without a deal soon, the league risks losing momentum from this breakout year. Caitlyn's name keeps popping up in the chatter, folks wondering if she'd sit out or use her voice to rally more change. It's a high-wire act, and one wrong step could bench everyone. But amid all this league drama, Clark slipped away to a different game that welcomed her like a champ. Straight from her own words, Caitlyn shared she's back at full strength, ready to roll. No more guesses from folks like Amber Cox or Stephanie White on her health. Caitlyn Clark didn't just dip into a casual pro-am, she stepped into an LPGA event one afternoon and flipped the golf scene upside down, turning a simple spot into a total grab. Well, we all know whatever Caitlyn Clark sets her sights on, she nails it. At least when it comes to golf and hoops. I mean, she's a pure athlete, no doubt. And that day was the Annika Pro-Am, with loads of buzz spilling out. Picture this: Pelican Golf Club, the Annika Pro-Am. Sun shining bright, fairways spot on, and the first tee packed like a big Sunday showdown. But the cheers aren't for an LPGA vet. They're roaring for Caitlyn Clark from the Indiana Fever. She's decked in full Nike gear, fresh hat, right shoes, her own bag and clubs, no rentals, no chill vibe, no just messing around. So, Caitlyn Clark is back on the course. It's her first swing in who knows how long, but she's out there. Yeah, that's a good sign. It's the Annika event she hit last year, but this time it's got a fresh twist. Let's check all the highlights so far. Wow, it's jammed just on the practice range. Better swing than mine, for sure. Right from her first tee, she fits right in. And here's the wild bit: everyone online fixates on that one big putt, that massive breaker on 18 that exploded across feeds. Wednesday Pro-Am, here's Caitlyn at the 10th. Yeah, looks like she put that tip from Jamie to work. Let it go. We got Caitlyn Clark heading to the 18th. Wind gusting 14 miles per hour from the northeast. A perfect sunny day. But that putt is just the start. What went down that day cracked open a fresh path for Caitlyn, and it should rattle the WNBA. Because while golf rolls out the welcome mat and treats her like a legend, her own league still bickers over her spotlight share. Let's hit the golf details. Cameras catch Caitlyn on the 10th. Commentators eye her swing, and they're not joking around. They're hooked. One says, "This ain't a baller fooling on the links. This is someone grinding real hours." Her swing is clean, steady, in check. She lets the club fly right, holds her pose, and strides after the ball like she's done it forever. By the time she hits 18, wind whipping 14 miles per hour in her face. Most celeb guests would settle for green close. Caitlyn lines up a long slider and sinks it with thousands watching. Man, this putt is nuts. Look at this killer putt. Wow, unreal. Caitlyn's got real skill, folks. The crowd blows up. The announcers flip. This ain't pity claps, it's a legit golf thrill. Right there, she smashes the notion she's just a hooper having kicks. She comes off like a true golfer who also rules the court. But if Caitlyn's the steady force in this tale, Sophie Cunningham brings the wild ride. Sophie and Lexi Hull are there in fever threads, caddying and pumping the vibe. Sophie snags a club on the tee and goes full wild mode with a running dash. She swings hard, the ball zips, and a fan drops. Then 2 or 3 more hit the grass, all hamming it up, chasing a Sophie moment or maybe a quick hug. Guys, this is rough. I ain't swung a club in months. You got it, I'd step back, and I ain't joking. Killed a squirrel last time I tried this. Oh man, this is bad. You got this. Nervous? Music? Yeah, guys, come on. Oh, is that bad? Is that bad? Oh no. Oh no. Happy Gilmore. Cheers. You didn't nail him. He just wants a hug. He got it. Nah, he didn't even snag it. One more. One more. One more. The web goes nuts. Folks debate in comments if he got smacked for real or just acting. Clips of Sophie's swing and the downed fan spread fast. It's funny. It's messy. And it shows one thing clear. Sophie is gold for clips. She's all spark and drama. But Caitlin? She's viral not for noise. She's viral because she dominates any spot you drop her in. And that's where Bryson DeChambeau jumps in. And that's where Bryson DeChambeau jumps into the mix. After that killer putt, after the spotlight, after the fans went wild, Bryson starts chatting about Caitlin. He doesn't just call her a solid golfer, he pulls her into his space. He tosses her an invite to his internet invitational in 2026. Now, at first glance, that might sound like a fun side gig with some online stars and a prize. It's way more. Bryson's event is a view magnet. It racks up crazy numbers. On his channel, you spot 2.1 million hits in 2 days, 2.8 million from 6 days back, 3.3 million, 4.4 million, 5.9 million over roughly 2 weeks. That's about 16 million views in half a month for one run, before you add shorts or shares. Those aren't league clip counts. Those are worldwide online hits. So when Bryson says, "I want Caitlin Clark in this lineup," he's not handing a quick spot. He's giving her a straight shot to one of the biggest golf crowds out there, an event with over $1 million up for grabs, and a slot next to top names in the game. Think about the flip side for a second. In the WNBA, Caitlin faces rough checks, pushes, taunts, and targets game after game. Each night sparks fights over if she's too big, if she gets fair calls, if the league pushes her too hard or not enough. In golf, she hits the tee and they roll out the star treatment. Cameras track her. Announcers pick apart her swing. The crowd yells her name, and instead of tearing her down, the big shots in golf pull her up. This is why folks drop the Tiger Woods label when they chat her golf game. The crowd is smaller for now, but the vibe matches. When she shows, the buzz flips. Even the golf pros see it. Nelly Korda called that first tee vibe like a page from a storybook. She talked up how nuts it was to have that pack for a weekday pro-am, all because Caitlin Clark showed. Annika Sorenstam hit on how key it is to snag an athlete like Caitlin to pull her fans into women's golf, and how that mix can pump up the sport big time. It's the piece doubters missed. They called her a sideshow. They griped about ads, spots, golf gigs. They wanted her locked in one spot, but this is her spot. Caitlin isn't just a guard. She's a spark that amps any game she hits. Picture being Caitlin. On one hand, the WNBA. It's the spot you battled for, the one you're boosting. But it's also slow to hug you full on, where your body takes hits, and your top years might fade by early 30 seconds. On the flip, golf and online events. Easy on the body, fat checks, huge reach, and a path that stretches to your 40 seconds and past. Plus, it's a kick she digs and takes for real. You spot why this Annika day tops a quick reel. On the card, a midweek pro-am. In truth, Caitlin Clark hit an LPGA spot, and the whole thing spun around her. But with her star-crossing lines, her real edge starts to show. The crowd cheered her name. Her teammates turned the fairway into a party. She nailed a huge putt on live TV and showed she has real skills. Bryson DeChambeau jumped in by cracking open the door to a 16 million view world and a 7-figure prize event. That's pure dominance. She didn't need to call out anyone. She didn't chase the spotlight. She just showed up, played strong, and let the buzz do the talking. So, what does this spell for 2026 and after? No, Caitlin won't quit hoops tomorrow. She's too fired up, too locked in, and she has tons left to chase with the fever. But she's sharp. She gets power plays. By carving out a spot in golf, she hands herself choices. More cash flow, more safety nets, more say over her health and image down the line. And here's the tough spot for the WNBA. The more doors swing open from other sports and big creators for Caitlin Clark, the less grip the league holds to treat her like any other face. At the Annika, Caitlin laid it bare for the whole sports scene. She's not just shaking up women's hoops, she can jump into a fresh sport and rule the day in hours. Fresh chatter says NBA boss Adam Silver is dipping in, pushing for big pay jumps as talks drag on. He told folks on TV that players like her can count on a fat boost, but the union isn't biting yet. They want real shares of the pie, not just scraps. With the deadline hitting November 30, just days out, lockout talk is heating up fast. Sources say players feel the offer falls short, maxing at over $1 million, but skipping true revenue cuts. If no deal sticks, the whole 2026 tip-off could stall, benching stars again. Whispers float that Silver might step deeper to bridge the gap, given how Caitlin and her crew drive the league's boom. Some even buzz about player-driven shifts, like vets and rookies teaming to flip the power. Could Caitlin's pull force the bosses to rethink it all? Her golf glow-up spotlights the league's weak spots. Rough play that bangs up bodies, slow hugs for new stars, and careers that burn out quick. In golf, it's easy vibes, long runs, and fat checks into her 40 seconds. If the WNBA drags its feet, will she lean harder that way? It's a wild spot that keeps everyone guessing. But one thing's clear, her edge just got bigger, and the league better catch up. All this drama builds to one big question. From Napheesa Collier dropping that major truth about the commissioner's words, to Caitlin Clark stepping up and backing her with calm facts, this whole mess has exposed big cracks in the WNBA's setup. The backlash rolled in fast, with fans and players calling for real change. And now with the CBA deadline just days away on November 30, talks are still stuck no deal yet, and players are slamming the league's latest offer as weak. Whispers of a lockout keep growing, which could bench everyone in 2026 and hit stars like Clark hardest after her injury-riddled year. Then there's her golf breakout at the Annika Pro-Am, where she drew massive crowds, sank viral putts, and showed she's a force anywhere. With Bryson DeChambeau's invite to his huge 2026 event and praise from golf icons like Nelly Korda and Annika Sorenstam, Clark's proving she doesn't need the WNBA to shine. Golf offers easy vibes, big money, and a longer career without the constant hits. All this builds Clark's power like never before. She's not just a rookie anymore, she's the spark that could force the league to fix its pay gaps, respect issues, and old ways. Maybe even with NBA help stepping in. But here's the wild thought. If the WNBA keeps dragging its feet and risks a shutdown, could Clark flip the script and chase golf full-time, leaving hoops behind for a sport that rolls out the red carpet? It makes you wonder if the league's ready to keep its biggest draw or watch her walk. What do you think, should Clark push for WNBA changes or tee up a golf future? If you're still here, drop Clark's next move in the comments so we know your take, and check the video on screen about how her Iowa days set up this whole rise.